This book never would have happened if she had not agreed to give me some music lessons in her old piano, because it was in the piano room where we would play, and then she would sit and she would start to tell me a story. And my jaw just dropped more and more, and I said, "Where are these stories?" And she said, so I said, "We have to change that. We have to start recording." And so we did. I recorded and transcribed and edited, and with the help of Sir Speedy, we created this little book. Now, I'm going to ask Jacqueline Dorminy to come and inspire me with her personality and her energy. My dears, at this very moment, there is someone in your life that needs this book. And I will and I'll tell you why. They need to hear how I always dreamed big and made plans. And when opportunity knocks, as she always does, I would open that door wide and grab her with both hands. And I'll tell them how we need to help each other along this journey. The great Maker has blessed you and me with such great gifts, and it feels so good to help another person and to be someone that can make a difference. Wherever I went and whatever I did, I just loved being there and doing that. Sometimes it was tough, but things always worked out. And I will surprise you. Oh, brother, will I surprise you. Cute. It's 1932, at the height of the Great Depression, when a young woman of 25 arrives in Winston-Salem with her husband, J. Dorminy. He's a traveling salesman for Swift and Company, and very soon he'll leave her for another woman. And she lets him go, but she likes the name Dorminy, and decides to keep it. Soon thereafter, she rents the elegant ballroom, the Palm Room, at the downtown Zinzendorf Hotel to offer dance classes to the 15 young ladies who've already signed up. Within weeks, that number has grown to 400. The Zinzendorf is a gold mine for Jacqueline, a rest stop for people passing through, and for entertainers of all persuasions traveling between New York and Miami. These patrons would have been curious about the goings-on in the ballroom on the first floor. They might look in and see this young woman practicing tap and ballet, teaching a class, rehearsing her speeches, or dancing a tango with a partner. So where did this woman come from? She would tell you that she was born Mattie Claude Lancaster in South Georgia in 1907, the third of 8 children. Now that's a mighty countrified name. But consider that her mother's maiden name was Ida Mae Cootie. They lived on a farm in a house, log house built by her grandfather, with a well on the front porch and a horse and buggy for transportation to church and to town. She attended grades 1 through 3 in a one-room schoolhouse built by her grandfather, and when she was 10 years old, she moved to Hawkinsville, Georgia. The family did, 8 miles away, and that was 1916. Now you may think that is pretty primitive stuff, but by the time Mattie Claude was 12 years old, she had steady employment, and she was text messaging. After school, she worked for Mrs. Buff, who designed ladies' hats and dresses, and Miss Buff taught her Morse code, and they used telegraph equipment to connect Mattie Claude in the hat shop with Miss Buff in her office downstairs. And this will be my first little reading here. One day I went across the street to the telegraph office and listened to the incoming messages. What are all those numbers? She said, that's the stock market for cotton all over the United States. They're sending the cotton futures. You know, the South is a great cotton country. And the prices were flashing from New York to Miami and from Macon, Georgia, all over the world. When the telegraph was quiet, I reached over and tapped out a message. I reached over, well, I guess I should stop. Okay. I reached over and tapped out a message. Since you people are so smart, write me about making hats. About 10 operators responded. The local operator said, they're calling you. Soon I was talking all over the country to the Western Union operators. Now, Hawkinsville, Virginia, Georgia, was an interesting place. They had an opera house that was built in 1907, and they gave top billing to famous entertainers and politicians from all over the country. So there was, and next I'm going to tell you how Mattie Claude became Jacqueline. It would have been 1923 when she arrived at the University of Georgia. She's 17 years old, and she goes to the president of the University of Georgia in Athens. She asks for a job. And he says, we know a lot about you. They tell me you can sew. Well, yes, I made costumes in high school. All right, you're going to be head of the costume department of the University of Georgia. He walked me over, and let me show you what the costume department looks like. And he walked me over to the next building, opened the door to a long room about 40 feet long. In the middle of the floor was a pile of clothes. I'd never seen such a mess. They were the costumes the people of Athens had given to the school. And as I stood staring at that mountain of clothes, he said, this is yours, Jack. Do whatever you want to it. Thank you. And he walked out. No one had ever called me Jack before. Right then and there, I decided my name would be Jack, short for Jacqueline. I've never been fond of Mattie Claude.